Good morning. Today we are going to talk about tone colors. Tone colors is a very unique concept. As a musician, you may find that other musicians, conductors, or particularly composers, will come and ask you not for more articulation or less articulation, not for a warmer, rounder sound, or a brighter sound, or a harsher sound, but they'll ask you for a different tone color. This is a very unique concept. What does this mean? Well, if you're like I once was, and you find it frustrating to not be able to discern one tone color from another, in order to be able to placate whatever composer, conductor, or musician is asking you for a different tone color, then this is your lucky day, because recently I have had an epiphany about tone color, and I have decided to share this information with the international percussion community, in particular regarding what it means to see a tone color as you hear a sound. So, what I've decided to use for this demonstration today is, of course, timpani, which is the most tonally sensitive, which is to say that the instrument that is the most sensitive to how we treat it with respect to how we get the tone out of it, out of all instruments that percussionists tend to play. And I also thought that it would be worthwhile to do this in an atmosphere that would treat the sound of the instruments very nicely and would flatter our tone colors as much as possible. So I've selected this beautiful, quaint little church, which is called Knox, is located in Calgary. And we're just having a look around the church here, and we're going to talk a little bit about tone colors today. So for example, let's say that your composer in residence, or whoever's talking to you, is asking you for a blue tone. What does blue mean? Well, blue means round, beautiful, boisterous, lovely, and singing. Blue. It's like the sky on a calm, peaceful summer day, except that the sky isn't making any noise because there's no storm in the sky, yet somehow it's blue. Or like the ocean, which is not actually blue because water is clear, yet somehow it's blue. Blue. So there's our blue tone. Now maybe let's move on to something else, something a little bit contrasting. Let's talk about red tone. When a composer asks you for red tone, he or she is definitely asking for something sharp and articulate. So let's maybe select a slightly harder mallet here, and we're going to move slightly closer to the center. If you just want to come in a little bit closer, you can see we're going to move slightly closer to the center. We're really going to dig in with our fingers as we're playing with the mallet, and we're going to get a red tone. Red. Red. What makes it red? Well, it kind of sounds like fire, even though fire doesn't actually really sound like anything. Or maybe it makes you think of a red sports car. Doesn't that tone just sing red sports car to you? Yes, there's our red tone. Lovely. Now we're going to move on to perhaps a different one. Maybe we'll talk about yellow a little bit. So when a composer asks you for a long, sustained sound, clearly they're asking you for a yellow sound. So now you know that when a composer asks you for yellow, they want a beautiful, long, soaring sustain like this. Because it sounds like yellow. You can even say it as you do it. Yellow! Yellow! See, it sounds like yellow. Yellow! Excellent. So now we've covered our three primary colors. Now, of course, in order for us to be versatile musicians, we need to expand beyond the primary colors. So let's talk about how we're going to get more colors. And of course, just as simply as when you're dealing with something like wax crayons, how is it that you get secondary colors? Well, you blend the primary colors together. So let's make sure that our other drum here is tuned to a nice perfect interval with our other drum. And we're going to talk about secondary colors. So let's start with purple. How do we get purple? Well, we blend blue and red. course. Remember, our blue sound was our beautiful brown sound, and our red sound was our very articulate sound. So we're going to do those two simultaneously. And there we have it, purple. What is purple the color of? How does it make you feel as an artist? What experience does it evoke? Perhaps eggplant. Who knew that a tone color could not only be so auditorily and visually vivid, but so delicious at the same time? Purple. Bodacious, isn't it? The whole world of tone color. Let's talk about another type of tone color, another secondary color here. How about orange? How do you get orange? Well, of course, you blend yellow and red together. Now, of course, this is quite difficult because in order for us to blend yellow and red, we have to do our yellow sustain, which means we're going to have to do a one-handed roll on one drum while doing our red tone on another drum. And of course, in order for us to get yellow, we have to scream yellow like a banshee as we produce the sound in order for us to get our orange by combining yellow and red together. See? It's orange. Yep, that's orange, all right. So there we are, a few different tone colors. Now let's talk about a different type of tone color. And this one can be quite educational for composers, for example. What do we have here? We have an innovative percussion model 905 glockenspiel mallet. What type of tone is this? It's black. What's that, you say? Black is not a color? Well, that's because this is not a sound that you are allowed to make. That's why it's black. Not allowed. Anyway, thank you very much for watching today. This has been an introduction to tone colors in the percussion section on timpani in particular. Have a great day.